Do you ever wonder why you dream about giant mutant hamsters that want to steal your lunch money? No. Well, scientists do. Okay, not exactly those details, but they are curious about dreams in general. Why does our brain take us to strange lands of talking animals and flying cars? Are these stories in our heads meaningful, or just random firings of neurons? Is there a reason we dream at all, or is it just something our brain does for fun? Well, science has a few theories. For starters, dreams happen when you're in a special sleep state called REM sleep, which stands for rapid eye movement. It is named this because people's eyes dart around under their eyelids really fast, while they daydreaming. REM sleep cycles through multiple times during the night, but the dreams that occur during them tend to get longer as the night goes on. In fact, most of the time you spend dreaming happens during the last cycle, which usually takes place about an hour and a half before your alarm clock goes off in the morning. So, what's so special about REM sleep? Well, unlike other sleep stages, it's a lot more like being awake than asleep. That's because while you're dreaming, many parts of your brain light up in a similar way they would if you were wide awake. The brainstem keeps your body from moving. Your heart rate, breathing, and eye movement speed up, and your brain starts making lots of serotonin and dopamine. In fact, dopamine levels go higher than they normally do when you're awake and enjoying yourself. So maybe that explains why sometimes you wake up feeling super happy for no apparent reason. What's more, different parts of your brain activate in unique ways during REM sleep. Scientists think this might mean that dreaming is actually a combination of brain processes that normally happen when you lay awake, just sort of turned down to 11. And it's not the only time your brain does this. When you're daydreaming, your brain also activates in unusual ways, combining information from different areas that are usually active when you're thinking about different things. So, why would our brains do this weird sort of mixing and matching? Well, scientists think it might be related to one of the main theories about why we dream at all. This theory says that dreaming helps us process our emotions, memories, and learning from the day. In other words, dreams help us make sense of what we experience while we're awake. To support this idea, researchers found that people who have trouble processing emotions, like those with depression or PTSD, often have more negative dreams. Meanwhile, people who can process their emotions more easily tend to have fewer upsetting dreams. Also, studies show that people who dream more have better memories both for facts and experiences. They're also better at using facts they learned long ago to solve new problems. So dreaming might help us store and retrieve information by putting it into context. Imagine trying to remember what you did on your vacation. You might remember visiting a beach, getting a sunburn, and going to an amusement park. But if you dreamed about it, you might remember all of that, plus the food you ate, the games you played, the people you met, how much everything cost, and more. Basically, dreams could give our memories more detail. What's more, having a good night's sleep after learning something new helps us remember it better anyway. And REM sleep, the kind that involves dreaming, is an important part of that process. So maybe dreams help us process everything we learn into our long-term memory. But that's not all they might be good for. Another leading theory is that dreams serve as a sort of mental rehearsal for dealing with threats. In other words, dreams let us practice solving problems and overcoming obstacles in a safe environment. After all, our brains know that whatever happens in a dream, no one gets hurt. So, it's a risk-free way to try out different responses to threatening situations. To test this idea, researchers asked 321 college students to write about a moderately threatening event that happened to them. Then they had each student complete 3 sets of problem-solving tasks that got progressively more difficult. The next night, the students kept a dream journal and recorded any dreams that involved the event they wrote about earlier. Sure enough, the more effort the students put into writing about their event and the more complex the problems they solved during their tasks, the more threatening their dreams were. In fact, students who had the most threatening dreams reported feeling less confident about their ability to deal with the event overall. In other words, their dreams gave them a chance to practice facing their fears. And this makes sense given that ancient humans likely faced constant threats like predators and harsh weather. Our ancestors probably didn't have enough time to practice dealing with danger in the waking world. So maybe they practiced in their dreams instead. And since many of our fears involve social situations today, it is not surprising that some of our scariest dreams involve embarrassing moments or awkward run-ins with people we know. What's more, research suggests that people who have frequent nightmares have experienced more stress or anxiety in their lives. So, dreams might be our brain's way of helping us cope with trauma. If that's true, then having nightmares might actually be a good thing because it means that your brain is working to help you process and move on from scary experiences. Still, we don't totally understand why we dream. Some scientists think that dreams may also be linked to our subconscious thoughts. Think about someone you know who's been struggling with a decision lately. If you have a dream where you see them, it might be your subconscious nudging you to help them, or maybe trying to tell you that they need some support. There's some evidence to back this idea up, too. One study found that people who dreamed about a friend were more likely to say that friend was on their mind before going to bed. And another study found that people who couldn't remember dreaming about a particular person were less likely to notice when that person was in their field of vision later. Basically, dreaming about someone could be your brain's way of telling you to pay attention to them. However, not all dreams have a hidden meaning. Some are the result of random firings in the brain. For example, people who were deprived of sleep for a night had shorter, less detailed dreams the following night. And these dreams tended to involve whatever was going on around them at the time. So sometimes your brain literally dreams about nothing in particular. It is just making connections between whatever is going on around you and whatever is happening in your head. Still, even dreams that seem to pop out of nowhere might have a purpose. One group of researchers believes that dreams are a way to get rid of unimportant information, so that our brains can focus on what is really important. They suggest that dreams help us forget stuff by actively suppressing neural connections that aren't relevant to our goals. They came to this conclusion by studying fruit flies who had been trained to avoid certain smells. If the flies didn't get a chance to sleep after training, they remembered the smell for 2 days. But if they slept, they forgot it almost as quickly as it took them to learn it in the first place. And the part of the brain responsible for forgetting was the same area that lit up when they dreamed. So maybe our dreams help us forget things we don't need to remember anymore, like the names of people we just met or numbers we looked up online. Of course, this theory doesn't explain why we visit strange lands and talk to talking animals in our dreams, but it might help us understand why we wake up in the middle of the night, or why we suddenly come up with brilliant ideas right before bed. In fact, there are so many theories about why we dream that science might never settle on just one. We can't even agree on what a dream is, whether it's a story, a series of images, or a succession of thoughts. Plus, every culture has its own beliefs about dreams. In some places, people believe that dreams can predict the future. In others, they believe dreams are messages from the gods or ancestors. And in others, they believe that dreams are portals to other worlds. So, until we figure out why we dream, we can keep searching for answers in the stars, or maybe stick to asking our fruit fly overlords. And hey, if you have any dream theories of your own, feel free to share them in the comments below. Just don't blame me if anyone tries to steal your lunch money based on them. Thanks for watching this episode. If you want to help keep our videos free for everyone forever, you can join our community by subscribing.